Hey everybody, I'm Joe Killinger. I'm a real estate investor and entrepreneur, and we put these videos together every week to give you all the tips and insights from my experience over the last several years. So make sure you tune in and subscribe, and thank you. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. For those of you in the commercial real estate industry that are out there trying to learn how to gain leads, I've got a great remedy for you today. I asked my friend Paul to come in. Paul's going to show you how to walk us through the steps for marketing on LinkedIn. Paul, you want to, first of all, thank you for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you, Joe.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company, and then we'll get started.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm really happy to be here. I'm excited and I'm really passionate about what we're doing in regards to LinkedIn marketing. But before I get to that, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Paul Mitchell. I'm owner of Mitchell Sales Advisors, and we're a company that's a division of Sales Acceleration. There's 100 advisors of ours across the country, and we work with all types of businesses to help grow their sales. And most of it's foundational growth. Most of it's around process and procedure. But as I work with every company, the first thing we start trying to focus on is how do we generate new leads? How do we build our business? And that's really the challenge everywhere. And I've been a sales leader for 30 years, Joe. And the thing is that as I've seen this type of business evolve and all businesses evolve, you went from a place where people were sitting and just trying to close business and trying to sell people. When someone picks up the phone and calls you, they're saying, I want to sell you something, and you know that.
Yeah, it's relationship building. As we tell our agents, if you're cold calling, you're building the relationship. You're not going to get a lease or a sale done on that first phone call.
Exactly. And these buyers today are so much more savvy. They have access to information like YouTube and so much different social media that you can actually lean on to get information. So by the time they call you or reach out to you, they've done a lot of research on their own already. That's so different than the way we used to work with people in the past.
And I think LinkedIn is something for a commercial real estate agent that's such a powerful tool that if you're not using it or not using it properly, you're really missing out. So I really feel that what you've got to tell our viewers is really something that can be critical to help them get their career to the next level. Yeah. So what is your step one process?
Yes, step one process. So I started doing this for my own business, and then I also found another company. It's called Cornerstone Growth Solutions that I've partnered with that actually does a lot of this for us, does a lot of it for you. And basically the first step is to create messaging, content that you want to talk to people about. And you put that out there on LinkedIn. But what you do is you create a target audience. You decide who you want to talk to. Who are the people that I'd like to reach out to? And you start asking them to connect with you on LinkedIn.
Right.
And you're going out and you're reaching out to folks to connect with them on LinkedIn, and you've created the right profile on your page that speaks to them, that speaks to what you do, all the things that you have to do first to kind of create the atmosphere that you want to connect with folks. You just want to get to know them. You want to build a relationship with them.
So it's very focused. You have it pretty focused on who you want to connect with.
That's a key to it. You really want to target who you want to connect with.
Yeah, so going on and just connect doesn't really do you any good. Obviously, you're getting your connections up, but 90-some% of those people aren't going to do you any good.
That's
so
right.
Target it.
And then functionally, LinkedIn has this great thing called LinkedIn Navigator, which allows you to actually target what you want to target. And so you can actually decide, these are the people I want to talk to in this type of market, in this area of the country. These are who we want to target. So once you've done all that and you've created your messaging, what you do is you go out and you send out LinkedIn connections. Now, like I said, there's companies that do that for you, or you can do this on your own. It's totally up to you, and it's extremely affordable, much more affordable than most people think.
Well, now and this is, I'm asking out of ignorance, is the Navigator part of the premium, or is that with the basic?
It's a premium service.
Okay.
Navigator is a premium service. So, and I recommend anybody who's going to do any targeting, they have Navigator. Okay. It's definitely goes beyond what you just see on LinkedIn.
All right, so build your profile, target the people that you want to be after to find or connect with. What's step number 2?
Step number 2 is then go ahead and send out the connections. Make
Okay.
connections requests. Ask people to connect, and you always connect with some sort of message.
Right.
I'd like to connect with you just to get to know you better and find out more about what you do, so I can introduce you to others, or
Okay.
things like that. Because the focus of these connections aren't about, I want to connect with you to talk to you about what I do.
Yeah.
I want to connect with you because I want to learn more about you and how we can help each other out.
Now, don't you think that, we always see the Instagrams, the Facebooks, the Twitters, and I don't know what else I'm forgetting. There's so many of them anymore.
There's so
but
many of them.
That they're really, they are classified as social. I see LinkedIn as a social as well, too. So I try, and everybody that sends me a message that's not hard selling me on something, I typically respond to them because I like to keep that dialogue open. So I really think we need to look at it as a social. It's not just a way to build connections. It's a social platform. So really keep that in mind as you're going.
You make a great point, Joe, because most people have 1,000 LinkedIn connections and
Yeah.
they've never even reached out to them or
Right.
even sent them a message or even gotten a response because
Right.
they didn't send a message asking
Yeah.
a question and they just asked for the connection.
Right.
Send
For
a
no
message
reason
asking
why.
them to do things and asking them to with a purpose, with some kind of call to action. And if you do that, you'll tend to get response a lot better.
Yeah, I can imagine. They know why you want to actually talk to them.
Yeah.
Next step?
Next step, and again, if you go through a third-party company or yourself, it just
Right.
depends on how you want to do this. You compile a list of all your connections, and you basically have a list of, say, 30 connections on a weekly basis that you're reaching out to if you're doing this in mass.
Okay.
So every week you'll have 30 people that have connected with you. Now, what you do then is you start reaching out to those people.
Okay.
You call them. You pick up the phone and you basically call them with a script. But the thing about all of this, it has to be authentic.
Right.
You can't just be doing it because I know I want to eventually make a sale to this person.
Okay.
The concept has to be based on building relationships. So in essence, the first step in making that phone call is when you get folks on the phone, you're basically saying to them, listen, I'm just one of those people that likes to get to know the people I connect with on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I appreciate you connecting with me. Can we spend 10 or 15 minutes next week just to get to know each other and find out if there's ways we can help each other out?
Right.
9 out of 10 people I've connected with to do this, and I've done this myself, have agreed to that. It's very hard for someone to say, I won't spend 10 to 15 minutes with you to get to know you. And anybody who doesn't is probably someone you don't want to do business with anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the concept of just reaching out and gaining that audience with someone to get to know them.
Yeah, and I think it's also, in a relationship that you're starting to establish, you have to bring value to the relationship. You can't just do it for no reason at all.
That's
Always, when you're calling them, bring value to them, and then they're going to want to talk to you.
Yep.
It'll be a lot easier.
Yep. Look for ways you can help each other out. And that leads to that 15-minute call. And that 15-minute call is normally about them.
Yeah.
You have to create a script of
Learning about
questions,
them.
learning about them, asking them questions about, tell me about how you got to be what you're doing. That's how I met you.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah.
let's just get to know each other.
That's true. It is, isn't it? You
It's
reached out.
exactly. I reached out.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it happens. And sometimes you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Someone's reaching out and saying, hey, I just want to get to
Picked
know
up
you.
the phone.
Just
I
pick
do.
up the phone.
I take the, well, not all calls. I mean, it really, you can tell when there's nothing there. But yeah, it really, it's something that really works. It's highly effective, and it will generate leads for you.
Yep. And in that call, if you're authentically just asking them questions about themselves, you want to get to know them, then, because the bottom line is if I can get to know you, I can learn more about what you do. I have a network of partners. I can introduce you to other people.
Yep.
And you know what? When you need something that I can do, you're going to reach out to me because you know we've created that partnership. So
Yep.
it's all about building that circle of influence, being a center of influence for your clients, for your friends, for the
Yep.
people you connect with on LinkedIn. So in that 15 minutes, all we're doing normally is talking about them. That's it. And the reason we do it for 15 minutes is we say, listen, this has been fascinating because I can tell you, people have told me about their families. They've told me about you told me you were in Nebraska when we talked, and you told me you were there with your family and how you were visiting there. And I knew from that point, I knew where you were from. I knew what you were doing. I knew what was driving you at that point.
Yeah.
Just in a 15-minute call.
Yeah.
So in essence, the next step is this is fascinating. Can we schedule lunch?
Well, and probably the biggest thing, Paul, that I got out of our initial conversation is that you were actually listening. You didn't call just to sell something.
Yeah.
You were actually listening and listening to what I was saying.
Yeah.
So that comes back to being good in sales. It's more about listening than it is talking. So,
Absolutely. You hit it right, and that's where I go to authenticity.
Yeah.
You're calling people because you authentically want to get to know them. And I believe that it's like with anything, I don't know where my next friend's going to come from.
Right.
Let's talk and let's get to know each other, because in the end, people do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
we all know that. So let's live that way. And so in essence, that 15-minute call will lead to an hour lunch. And I will always start that lunch continuing to talk about them. But
Yeah.
invariably they say, Paul, what do you do?
Yeah.
Because they're like-minded people. They wanted to have this communication. They wanted to get to know each other. And so they ask me what I do, which leads to the opportunity to talk about how I can help them and where I can bring them together. And finding out more, I can't tell you how many people I've brought together
Oh, sure.
in these situations. And again, when you do that, all you're doing is creating this center of influence that bleeds into what you do and what you want to do. And in commercial real estate and what you guys do, that's what it's all about, is being able to connect one person to the next and bring people together. And then once you do that, they're going to remember what you do when they need you.
Yeah, when you help somebody, being in commercial real estate in Los Angeles, I mean, really, it's a pretty small community. So we tend to really, if we know about an asset that somebody else is looking for, we'll let them know about it. I mean, we always like to keep the lines of communication open. If we can do something for somebody else without expectation, we
That's
don't
right.
really, we just do it, and maybe something will come back, maybe it won't. We don't expect it to, but it's worked very well for us.
Yeah.
So what's the next step?
Well, and once you have that 1 hour meeting, it takes you in all kinds of different
Right.
directions. It takes you to where you'll meet with them again. I have ongoing lunches with folks that I meet with, not knowing exactly what's going to come out of it, but now I've built a relationship with them. I've connected people with other folks so that they, and I've ensured those connections are happening. I had someone raise their hand and say, hey, I actually have a need for what your service is. So we're connecting that way, where I'm actually providing them services. So there's just a plethora of ways that you're going to continue working with those folks. But the key to what's next, Joe, is that you don't lose that cadence. You keep
Right.
communicating with them. If you have a newsletter, it's your opportunity to continue nurturing them.
Blog,
Any kind of continued blogging that you have, anything that you do that you send out to people, now you have the opportunity to stay in touch with those folks. And then on top of it, you still have the opportunity to continue meeting with them. I've had 3 or 4 lunches with folks, and I've connected them with people, and they've given me leads and said, hey, Paul, by the way, I know somebody who's interested in what you do. So it's fascinating how those things just snowball and build.
Starts to happen.
It just starts to happen.
Once you build the relationship
Yeah.
and get to know people, and you build that trust, business will follow.
The hardest part is that initial activity for any person trying to create relationships. It's like when you call somebody and you say, "Hey, I just want to sell you my service." Well, that's off-putting. I just want to tell you about the IT service I'm working with.
Right.
All of that stuff just is like, well, I already have that, so you get shut down right away.
Yeah, and there's so much noise, especially on LinkedIn. I get all these automated messages every day. You just click through.
Yep.
And, I'm gonna build your business. Let me sell you some IT. They're really something. So you got to really, you've got to create. You need to be doing it every day, and be consistent with it.
Yes.
And then stay in touch, because you put all this time and effort into it. If you don't stay in touch, you lose those people.
Well, and I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I made a connection with someone. I scheduled a lunch that I had reached out to for 8 consecutive weeks. Now, when you do this, not only do you leave a message many times, you get a voicemail, that
Sure.
happens,
Yep.
but you're leaving a voicemail saying, hey, I'm just one of those strange people that likes to get to know you on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you and spend 15, but I also follow up with an email.
Right.
And the email says the same thing. With some
Sure.
dates next week, we can get together.
Yep.
So in essence, I had someone that I did both of those cadences to for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And yesterday they picked up the phone and said, "Sure, I'd love to meet with you."
Yeah,
And
just consistency.
it's consistency. It's not calling that one person once and saying, "Oh, they didn't respond."
Right.
It's putting it in there. They are always an opportunity to build a connection. They just might not have time today,
Right.
but eventually they'll have time. And when they do, they're going to know that you're authentic because you continue to reach out, you didn't give up on them, and you continue to create the same messaging that I just want to get to know you.
That's great information. Paul, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
I'm going to put Paul's information at the back of the video so you can reach out to him directly, or you can reach out to me, and I'll put you in contact with Paul. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and tune in next week. Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Joe.